Hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is BC, and we're back at it again with the Cinian Trends Spongebob Conspiracy Theories. This is part 5. And I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday, depending on when this video has been released or published. And I would like all of you to like and subscribe to join the BC Army, and comment down below what video or what video game video I should do next. Also, if you haven't checked my recent upload today, my capture card is up and running again. I thought it was broken. But anyway, that is not the important part today. What is the important part of the video is the Cinian Trends theories. I've said enough. Let's get right into it, shall we?
This is Flats, the big mean flounder that randomly started bullying SpongeBob. The big mean flounder that gained control over his dad. But what if I told you that Flats is not just a bully, but a stalker, or even worse, somebody in the TV show is secretly hiring Flats to kill SpongeBob. This theory is about to change the way you think about SpongeBob Square Pants. This is the Flats Flounder theory. If you think SpongeBob is a weird TV show, you're not alone.
I do.
This is one of the only TV shows that hides serious topics and gives small hints that lead to the truth of how crazy SpongeBob SquarePants is. It's like a cheese pizza with pepperoni underneath. You will never know what it is without taking that first bite. But I'm determined to use all the hints to find the thread to connect the theory. Now let's get on to this.
Part 1, Boating School.
Flats the Flounder is a light green, unusual looking fish that attended Mrs. Puff's boating school in the episode The Bully. SpongeBob introduces himself to Flats, who responds with, "SpongeBob, I'm gonna kick your butt."
SpongeBob, I'm gonna kick your butt.
And that is very true. But like when you see that, like, literally, like, "I'm gonna kick your butt" out of nowhere, and SpongeBob at first was like, "Oh, that's very funny." Then a second time, "I mean it." "Oh, that was even good a second time." But then when he physically rips his hair out of his chest, it says on his chest, "I mean it," and SpongeBob is like, "You do mean it," and like he was so stunned and scared. And then later on in the episode, he literally hides in the bathroom and is like, "I barely even said 2 words to the guy. Hi, I'm SpongeBob. Oh, that's 3 words. I'm dead." In a realistic situation, that would not happen. I understand being bullied in school happens. I've been bullied before, and many people have as well. But it doesn't usually start like that, as far as I know. I don't know what you guys have went through, and I'm not going to even ask. But I'm just saying, from my experience, it doesn't really start that way. For me, my bully was all nice, calm, and collected. Very nice guy. And then throughout time, he was a bit of a douchebag. Bottom line is, he wasn't a very great person as I thought he was. But anyway, I think I've said enough. Let's get back into it.
SpongeBob takes this as a joke until Flats literally rips his chest hair off to show that he means it.
Right there.
But why would he bully SpongeBob for no reason? What if I told you that Flats joined the boating school just to bully SpongeBob? In this exact episode, we see something incredible. Flats is driving a garbage truck.
Then why is he in boating school if he knows how to drive?
Why would someone who knows how to drive go to boating school?
Exactly!
Because he doesn't even need a license. Why is Flats in boating school if he doesn't need a driver's license? I believe that Flats came here for revenge. But there is no way this is gonna make sense. SpongeBob never harmed anyone in Bikini Bottom.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He never harmed anybody? I think not, because in the last episode that we made, that I made about the Cinian Trends theories, I did mention, I mentioned Flats the Flounder. And when he was, like, when SpongeBob and Patrick thought Bikini Bottom was an alien planet and they were shooting the net guns at everybody. It so happens that one of the people that he mistaken out of the Bikini Bottom was Flats the Flounder. And you could go back on the other video I made and watch it, or you can watch it now, because we're learning about Flats. We're not learning about what happened last episode. But if you want to, you can go ahead. I'll put the link in the description, or the link will be in the description, or you could stick around. But anyway, let's get back into this.
Bottom.
Exactly! I knew it! You know what, guys? No need to go back. If you want to, it's your choice, but apparently there is no need, because it says it, or it doesn't say it. It shows it right there, clear as crystal. Let me go back.
This is gonna make sense. SpongeBob never harmed anyone in Bikini Bottom. Holy crap. In Season 1, Sandy's rocket proves Flats' revenge. SpongeBob and Patrick were going alien hunting, thinking Bikini Bottom was a different planet. Lo and behold, who we see? Flats the Flounder. SpongeBob shot Flats with the alien gun and abducted him. And when you look carefully at the end of the episode, we see the rocket trapped on the moon. SpongeBob left Flats on the moon.
SpongeBob, we aliens would like a word with you!
This probably triggered Flats to run after SpongeBob. He must have sworn to take revenge on him and make him pay the debt. But how did Flats know so much about SpongeBob? Like where he lives and learns
Yeah,
at?
how?
There must be somebody helping Flats get closer and closer to his prey.
Part 2, the Mastermind. I wonder who the Mastermind is. I hope it's
Back to the
today.
same episode, The Bully. SpongeBob walks around the halls of Mrs. Puff's boarding school, and out of the blue, the phone rings, and to our surprise, guess who picked up the phone?
We're gonna see.
I'd like to place an order for delivery.
Patrick Star.
Is that you?
Yeah, hey Mario.
Patrick Star. Patrick calls the boarding school and mistakes it as a pizza store called Pizza Castle. In the whole TV show, we have never heard of a pizza store called Pizza...
And which was also mentioned last time, there is no Pizza Castle. There is not. Like, I've seen a lot of, I've seen a lot of the episodes, I've seen a lot of the fan-made stuff, like, the fan-made stuff in video games, Minecraft including one of them, not that that matters, but I have seen creations on video games and other digital media. I've seen the SpongeBob episodes ever since I was growing up all the way up till now, and there is no Pizza Castle. There is a Gooby Goobers. There is a Salty Spittoon, or Platoon, however you pronounce it. There is a Weenie Hut Juniors, General, Super Weenie Hut Juniors, you name it. If you've seen it, you know, but there is no Pizza Castle. And the only pizza joint that existed was the Krusty Krab. Which was a lie, because it's a burger joint. There is no pizza. Like, for example, McDonald's, that's a fast food burger joint. There is no pizza. You think of Wendy's, there's no pizza. You think of Burger King, there is no pizza. So, but based on what I know about real life and what I know about SpongeBob, there is no Pizza Castle, and there is no dude. There might be a dude named Mario. We don't know. But there is no Pizza Castle, and as far as I'm concerned, the creator of SpongeBob is deceased, I believe. I think he is, and somebody else is taking their place and making new episodes. I don't know. But There hasn't been a pizza castle, and there, as far as I know, there never will be.
A castle. Maybe because it does not exist.
Exactly.
And it's a lie made up to fool SpongeBob. But how the heck did he accidentally dial the boarding school telephone at the exact same time SpongeBob passed by? Maybe because Flats is stalking SpongeBob. Patrick then says he bumped into a community college buddy named Flats. But remember, Patrick doesn't seem like the type of people to be smart enough to enter a college, so this is obviously a fake statement.
That's also true, because even though Patrick has that burst of intelligence, he is an idiot and a moron. He wouldn't make it to Harvard. He wouldn't make it to college. Hell, I don't even know, if he went to school. The only time we seen him go to school is when Squidward was impersonating Squilliam at a music place, when Patrick went to the boating school, and during the episode where Patrick writes his own song, he remembers elementary school. But there has been no proof and no evidence that Patrick has went to any college whatsoever. But I'm sorry to say it, Patrick Star, but you are a complete dumbass. You're a funny guy. You're a very interesting guy. I would consider you a friend, but I wouldn't be helping you with homework or even coexist with you in school. But all I'm trying to say is there is no way that sea star went to college. I'm not saying all the other sea stars or his parents didn't go to college, but Patrick Star did not. Patrick not Star, maybe not because he made an appearance in a hide and seek episode, but that is not the point. The point is you, Patrick Star. There is no way in rock bottom that you went to college and met Flats. Flats is either telling you what to do or somebody else is the mastermind. We're just going to see about it.
No, they're not closed. Oh, I'm sorry, SpongeBob. I was just talking to my old community college buddy, Flats.
He also mentions he met him in the soda shop.
I bumped into him at the soda store. Isn't that funny?
What? What is a soda shop? Again with the lies. There is no such thing as a soda shop, which means Patrick probably bumped into Flats in the episode Sandy's Rocket. He offered him a job to kill SpongeBob. Flats had a very evil smirk on his face, which proves that he intended this to happen. But if Flats was at Patrick's home, who was spying on him? Well, who hates SpongeBob just as much as Squidward? Who is having nightmares and suffering from PTSD just because of SpongeBob? Who teaches SpongeBob and can't control him? Mrs. Puff.
Well, that kind of makes sense, but at the before episode, like and after the phone call, SpongeBob runs right into Mrs. Puff's room. And says, and then tells Miss Puff about it, and then he simply said, let's say my license date. We'll just leave it at that. Oh, come on, SpongeBob, you could tell me anything. Okay, Flats trying to kick my butt. What? There'll be no butt kicking in any school of mine. I'll talk to him. Leave it to me. We fast forward after lunch. Hey, SpongeBob, I talked to Flats for you. I used your name. When he says he wants to kick your butt where he comes from, that means he wants to hang out with you. And then at the end of the episode, you see Flats, tired out and faints because he's been punching SpongeBob for a long time and gets tired. And then you see SpongeBob lift up his fist while doing his speech. All of a sudden, Mrs. Puff walks into school. SpongeBob, you hit a student. I'm gonna kick your butt. Yeah, Mrs. Puff, you're the type of person that I wouldn't trust with anything. That would be like trusting Mr. Krabs with my wallet. I don't trust you, Mrs. Puff. I don't trust Eugene Harold Krabs. I don't trust Sheldon Plankton. I trust nobody with greed, evil tendencies, or want to get what they want out of revenge. I don't trust you. Hell, if this was Batman, I wouldn't be trusting, you know, the Joker or anybody. I wouldn't trust anybody of the sort. But of course, it kind of makes sense. Because it's kind of like in those TV shows or like where drama gets down. Like at first, you trust somebody, and then at the next episode or later on, you figure out that they set you up. And Mrs. Puff did just that, is what Cinian's saying, I believe.
She seems like the type of person to hate SpongeBob. I'm thinking that Mrs. Puff was part of this mastermind plan and partnered with Flats and Patrick to spy on SpongeBob. And if you look at the chalkboard where Flats was drawing something, he clearly drew SpongeBob getting beaten up by him, and Mrs. Puff didn't even notice it. What the hell? Why wouldn't Mrs. Puff notice him wanting to beat him up on the chalkboard? She is either blind or she's trying to kill SpongeBob.
Please draw for us a diagram of a basic four-way intersection. My, how very creative!
In the episode New Student Starfish, she apparently had an X-ray chalkboard where she can see through.
Good job, boys! I saw the whole thing from behind my one-way chalkboard, and I couldn't be happier with your teamwork.
Mrs. Puff carries technology to spy on SpongeBob. When SpongeBob told Mrs. Puff about Flats being a bully, she told Flats and used his name.
SpongeBob, you can tell me
like I was
anything.
reenacting
But
earlier.
only if you promise to keep it between us.
Of course.
I knew I could count on you.
SpongeBob, I talked to Flats for you. I used your name.
Mrs. Puff, you excuse of a boarding school teacher. You just did this to get SpongeBob's butt kicked, and you know.
You literally just told SpongeBob to leave it to you. Like, literally. You lie to SpongeBob's face. And you say, oh, you could trust me. You know what? If that happened to me, I'd rather take, you know what, this might be a stupid idea, but I'd rather take boating license from Mr. Krabs than to trust you. Or better yet, I'll just go to New Kelp City and get my license. Because think about this. I could be the best student in the boating school. No doubt, I probably could. But I would not trust Mrs. Puff as far as she can throw me, or as far as she could do anything. I wouldn't trust her with my life. If she truly hated me, and she saw me dangling off a bridge, and I was like SpongeBob and gave her problems, the only way she would agree to pull me off the ledge would be if Sandy convinced her to. Because later on in the episodes, and seasons, you learn that Karen, Sandy, and Mrs. Puff become gal pals, you know? But like, picture them not being there. Mrs. Puff be like, oh, you want me to save your life? Okay. Yeah, no.
Shame on you, Mrs. Puff. I hope Mr. Krabs rejects you. She wants to get rid of SpongeBob so she can stop having PTSD and nightmares of dealing with an all-time failure. She sounds enthusiastic to end SpongeBob's life. In a lot of episodes, we have seen Mrs. Puff trying to murder SpongeBob, whereas...
Which is very true. And you know, he says you're a sorry excuse for a boarding school teacher. I'll do you one better, Cinian. Mrs. Puff, how could you? I don't want your explanation. I don't give a damn. I really do hope Mr. Krabs falls in love with somebody better and doesn't even... and literally leaves your ass. How dare you, and screw you.
She could just fire him and end this whole thing, but she is forced to teach him, and the way to get out is to end his life. If you're wondering why Patrick wants to end SpongeBob, then look no further, let me explain. You may think that they're the greatest friends, but you're absolutely wrong. The only reason Patrick likes SpongeBob is because of his food and money. You all know that Patrick does nothing but sleep all day and wonder...
Yeah, all he does is sit on his ass. All he does is sits on his ass. And like, SpongeBob has helped him with lots of things. And what does Patrick do? SpongeBob pays his rent, lets him get electricity. The bottom line is SpongeBob does so much for Patrick, and all Patrick does is use him or takes advantage of him. If I don't consider you a friend, Patrick, like if I wasn't as joyful and gullible as SpongeBob was, I would have moved away, and I would have let your ass sit next to a highway, or frickin' live under a damn bridge. I would not trust Patrick Star. I would not give a damn about Patrick Star. I would want nothing, no ifs, ands, and buts, no convincing, no nothing. I would want nothing out of, no A, B, and C. I choose D. None of the above. I don't trust Patrick. I don't trust Mrs. Puff. I wouldn't trust Plankton, and I sure as hell would not trust Mr. Krabs. I think that sums it up for me.
How he's surviving. SpongeBob is funding for his bills, food, and home.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he would go homeless. I think Patrick wants to end SpongeBob's life because he wants to inherit everything that SpongeBob owns, so he never has to work a day in his life.
Part 3, the father. Luke, I'm your father.
So now we all know that Patrick Flats and Mrs. Puff never has to work a day in his life. So now we all know that Patrick Flats and Mrs. Puff are planning the destruction of SpongeBob. But a lot of you guys think Flats is still joking, and if you do think that, then take a look at this clip.
Are you Flats' dad?
Why, yes I am.
He wants to kick my butt.
Dad, what are you doing? Nothing, son.
What did I tell you about talking to strangers?
Now he's gonna kick my butt.
SpongeBob goes to
Like, that reminds me of, like, certain, like, episodes of, like, Law and Order or crime TV shows or anything. If you truly have a child that is sick, twisted, and crazy, you wouldn't be putting your foot down. You'd be worried sick. Like, think about it. Like, imagine if I had a son, right? And, like, he did a lot of things that would make me, instead of being the father figure, I would listen to what he says. Like, like, I wouldn't do that, but, like, that's how Flats' fathers feel. Because, like, you literally have a son that is strong as hell and stands up to you. Instead of you being like, son, you're grounded, or son, you're doing this, is like, oh, son, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I wasn't talking to anybody. Leave me, please, please, please. No. Now, I would be the type of father who, like, if I was scared of him, I would probably try to get him psychiatric help, or if that doesn't work, I don't know what I would do. I don't know, either jail or an asylum. I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure if I was raising a child, I wouldn't be the type of father that would teach my son and daughter how to be that way, or act around them to be that way. Because the last time I checked, even though you raise your child and you think you're big and strong now, if the child ends up growing up and to be defiant and physical, and even though you're the stronger one and you can't handle him, there's gonna have to be some repercussions or some other stuff, Because, like, if you can't handle the child, then what can you do? Like, I have no idea. And then that's just my opinion, or that's what I'm thinking about. Like, do not take it seriously. Do not believe it. It's just based on my own analysis. It's not accurate. So, like, don't take this literally. I'm just saying based on what I think. Or not, like, what I think, not what's actually going on. But anyway, let's get back into it.
Complaint to Flats' dad, and when Flats appeared, his dad freaks out and tells us that now he's gonna kick my butt. Why on earth is Flats' dad scared of his son? Flats is a manipulative figure that will not even spare his own dad at any cost. He seems like a dictator and abuses his strength and may even kill his father after this moment. And that's the Flats Flounder theory. This theory took a lot of effort, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. We finally revealed the truth of Flats. Thankfully, SpongeBob is a sponge and absorbed the punches to save himself.
Harry, I'm absorbing his
Very
blows like I
true.
was made of some kind of spongy material.
With that being said, please check out my other theories where I uncovered the meaning behind a character and an episode. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another theory. What is the meaning of alone? Is time travel abstract? Was Squidward even alive during the episode? Today I'll be talking about the dark meaning of SB129. Get your luggage ready and let's go on a long...
What I think about SP129, I think it's cool and creepy at the same time. And like I was saying, I hope that all the answers to SP129 is answered. Most likely they will be, but I'm not sure. But I hope they are.
Theoretical journey. This is about time, purgatory, and reality.
Purgatory!
This is the SB129 theory.
Dad.
I've been watching SpongeBob for quite a while now, and it's been, 22 years since Nickelodeon released the first episode? I have been watching a lot of SpongeBob SquarePants. Out of most of the episodes, there are a handful of episodes that leave the audience with the question. I have had that experience ever since I watched the episode SB129. Unlike the other SpongeBob episodes, this particular episode contains a concept that many movies and cartoons covered: time travel. Unlike normal movies and TV shows where the characters simply just travel to a different time period.
But also, this is not the first time a time machine has been used. And even though it looks different, there actually was one where Patrick, SpongeBob, and Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy go in a time machine, and then Patrick is, touching the gizmos and buttons. And literally, I think he takes it as a vending machine because he's banging on the button. Says, "Where's my crunchy munchies?" Ah, and yeah, but it's a totally different episode. And the time machine button, the time machine itself, I think is different. I don't know, but it's not the first time a time machine has been used. It's also been used in the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode, which I just mentioned.
SpongeBob SquarePants made it way too exciting, and it's kind of fascinating how 11 minutes of a SpongeBob SquarePants episode can cover a variety of experiences that each of the characters go through. But this episode addresses that the SpongeBob world uses time travel to portray death and loneliness to a point where life seems abstract. But if Squidward was dead in the episode, what was the clarinet used for? After all, it served no purpose other than being his prized possession. Believe it or not, but this episode is ranked the scariest SpongeBob SquarePants episodes ever made, and I can understand why, since it served no purpose other than being his prized possession. Believe it or not, but this episode is ranked the scariest SpongeBob SquarePants episode ever
like I said, it was creepy.
Why, since it leaves the audience with a spooky feeling and messed up childhood. If you have ever seen the alone scene within the episode, you know what I'm talking about. Time to ruin your childhood and mine, cause we're all in this together.
I know we're on this together, but you know what? Every time I watch these things, and I always said they're gonna ruin my childhood, to me, it actually hasn't. But it has for other people. I'm not really sure if they have or not. But see, the only thing it's done for me is made me have a different outlook. I could still watch SpongeBob and be able to sit through it and not feel like, oh, well, this is bad. Let me not watch it anymore. Heck, when I react to these videos, I even share my information with other people I know. So yeah. It doesn't really affect me. It just makes me change the outlook of SpongeBob in different ways. But that's how I feel about it. I'm not sure how you guys feel about it. But anyway, I've said enough.
Let's dive deep into this theory. To start off the theory, don't you think the title card is a little different from every other SpongeBob title card? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then take a look at this. Instead of the usual Hawaiian opening cards, the designers chose a space theme card with chrome font. Not to mention the narrator read the title, which has never happened before, and listen to the way he said SB129 in a dead tone.
SB129.
It's creepy as hell.
I believe the reason they put this is to tell the audience that this is not your average SpongeBob episode, which tells us something is behind it. What about the title itself, SB129? Let's break it down into two different pieces. SB stands for SpongeBob, and the number 29 is an angel number that symbolizes to believe in yourself, which is probably hinting that Squidward needs to believe in himself to quietness and peace, regardless of SpongeBob's annoyance. I just found out why the writers called the episode SB129. They said the episode's title, SB129, is its production code. SB stands for SpongeBob, and this was the 29th segment produced in season 1. Hence, 29 is what they called the episode. Well, in fact, it was supposed to be called SpongeBob 3000, but they stuck with 29 for some reason. Even though the episode was a 26th aired episode, they used 129, which means there's a conspiracy beneath it. Fun fact, the episode was called SpongeBob 129, and there is proof. The episode begins with Squidward wanting to practice his clarinet in the morning, but SpongeBob and Patrick ruined it by asking Squidward to go jellyfishing with them. Squidward quietly goes to the Krusty Krab to play his clarinet in peace. He hides in the freezer to avoid being caught by SpongeBob and Patrick.
Aha! They're finally gone! I'll be out of here in no time.
He realizes the door is locked and is stuck in the freezer for 2,000 years until the door breaks.
Oh my gosh, it's like being cryogenically, I'm trying to see, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but cryogenically frozen. Actually, let me look it up real quick. Because like, this reminds me of Austin Powers, but different. In Austin Powers, what type of frozen state was Austin Powers in? Cryogenically frozen. It was cryogenically frozen. And that's kind of like what happened to Squidward, but instead he wasn't thought out and everything like the movie. Like, you guys should watch Doctor Evil, crap, not American, Austin Powers and International Man of Mystery yourself. It used to be on Netflix, but you guys should watch it. And it was made in 1997, but you know, like, if you guys want to know like the comparison, you guys should try to watch Austin Powers International Man of Mystery. Because, like, if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you have or haven't, the bottom line is this is a slight comparison, in my opinion.
Soft. Bonus theory. In 2,000 years of the future, we saw a couple sponges that claim to be different people. But I believe Spongetron is actually SpongeBob, since data claims that sponges that are 3 feet wide must be 5,000 years old. Maybe SpongeBob from prehistoric times was the same sponge in the future. A question that all of you might ask, what about Spongetron's clones, X, Y, Z, and so on? Well, they are just SpongeBob's offsprings produced by budding, as backed up in the episode Pressure, where he introduced his budding theory. This theory could explain the reason behind his childish behavior. He must be in his 30s now. We can see his date of birth on his driver's license in the episode Sleepy Time. You might be questioning, why is Patrick there? The sad truth is that this is not Patrick, since sea stars can't live more than 8 years, so it must mean that SpongeBob saw Patrick die both in the past and the present. In the episode Karate Star, Patrick chops his right arm off and reveals that sea star limbs grow back.
But don't worry, SpongeBob. I'm a sea star. My limbs grow back.
They also grow
Then
into
something
new
really
bodies.
interesting happened. Patrick's limb grew a new body, which is fascinating.
I like the architectural detail.
Hey!
Patrick?
Unfortunately, we sea stars have limbs that grow new bodies. Hey!
I mean, he's not lying, so these sea stars could be offsprings of Patrick. Do you remember Patron having 2 heads? Well, let me explain you that this is solid proof suggesting that this is an asexual process and caused by a mutation. Also, this theory seems to contradict the Bikini Atoll theory. For those of you who don't know the theory, then the theory states that Bikini Bottom and the characters are a result of a nuclear radiation explosion. The US
Very
tests
true.
nukes on small islands in the Pacific called Bikini Atoll. This radiation allowed primal fish in Bikini Bottom to evolve, giving them an ability to talk and act different. If SpongeBob and Patrick from the prehistoric times were able to talk, then this means the Bikini Atoll theory is false. This is a smoking
Wait,
bullet
what?
to
Sorry, I was
disprove
looking
the
at my
Bikini
phone. What?
Bikini different allowed primal fish on islands. The US tests nukes on small islands in the Pacific called Bikini Atoll. This radiation allowed primal fish in Bikini Bottom to
Neptune's
evolve, giving
moon.
them an ability to talk and act different.
So radiation did that.
If SpongeBob and Patrick from the prehistoric times were able to talk, then this means the Bikini Atoll theory is false. This is a smoking bullet to disprove the Bikini Atoll theory. Okay, back to SB129 theory.
True.
Squidward meets Spongetron, who greets him in the future.
But also, if you think about it, Bikini Atoll happened, like, way after prehistoric times, like, extremely after. So that theory apparently has to be false. Because if, and I mean if, that prehistoric times SpongeBob and Patrick were prehistoric, that is a long way before Bikini Atoll. Now, if you were to go back in time like they did in the new Fairy Odd Parents episode with Dark Laser, and in the episode, like, Chloe and Timmy wanted to go to school, so Dark Laser teleported them to school, prehistoric times, so like this, and then like Timmy goes and asks Dark Laser, well, I thought we were going to school. And then Dark Laser said this, well, yeah, we are at school in a certain amount of years before it's going to be. So that means that Bikini Atoll couldn't have happened because it didn't happen yet. That's what I got out of it, I guess.
Primitive?
SpongeBob, is that you?
SpongeBob? No! I am Spongetron. Welcome to the future.
What?
Welcome to the future.
Squidward finally realizes that he is in the future. He questions a chrome color but gets skeptical and then suddenly believes it.
He's lying! He's right!
After Squidward finds out there are 486 SpongeBob clones, Squidward freaks out and crunches chanting future.
Sure, all 486 of them.
This is one of the biggest mysteries in SpongeBob SquarePants, and I believe there is a meaning behind it. The symbolism of crunching is to snap yourself into consciousness. Squidward believes that there is no way 2,000 years passed all of a sudden. When Spongetron dropped a brick on Squidward, he realizes that he is fully conscious. He believes he's in reality physically and mentally. He soon discovers a time machine room where he decides to go back to the past to get peace and quiet from SpongeBob. In the past, Squidward notices that he does not find it very appealing since he finds the primitive counterparts of SpongeBob and Patrick in the present. Squidward invents jellyfishing to keep them from destroying Silence. He plays his clarinet and the primitives chase after him. This is where Squidward goes through a fight and flight response. When Squidward breaks a lever on the time machine, something very strange happens. The time machine malfunctions where it flies through a time rip. It starts to flatten down, cycling through a color spectrum and utterly disappears, transporting Squidward into an empty white space called nowhere. You might think Squidward came back with the time machine, but it doesn't seem like that. How would Squidward survive being flattened with the time machine and be outside the time machine? The writers sneaked Squidward's death in the episode without your conscious mind sensing it. The Squidward in nowhere is probably the soul of Squidward. This place seems way too abstract to be reality. Squidward calmly says alone, and random voices keep saying alone, which scares him shitless.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
A lot of you guys think that the writers just planned this out of the blue and it's just a scene, but I believe that this scene is addressing purgatory. If you don't know what purgatory is, then it's a process where a dead person is temporarily punished so that their soul is ready for heaven. Wait, so does this mean that Squidward is actually dead? Well, there is strong evidence to prove this point. Purgatory is a kingdom of nowhere in which there is no limit of how empty it can be, and it correlates with the episode since other than Squidward, his clarinet, and thoughts, there is nothing in this empty space. But one question I still have is that what is the clarinet even doing there? Unfortunately, there is no way to explain that. Except for the clarinet being part of Squidward's life. Squidward hates everything in life. The only thing that he ever likes is his clarinet, just like SpongeBob likes his spatula and Mr. Krabs likes his dollar. One thing I forgot to point out is the disturbing alone voices that scared Squidward.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Are those other people?
I believe those are the voices of other people who also wanted to escape from their neighbors and died. Maybe those colorful looking squares are fragments of fish spirits who lost their lives in nowhere. Thankfully, Squidward falls through the floor to reach the time machine where he happily appears in the present moment where he actually exists. Maybe something allowed Squidward to return to the time where Squidward was alive. I'm sure whoever sent Squidward to nowhere gave him a second chance to return to Bikini Bottom. I also think that...
Oh, this reminds me so much of Moon Knight, for some reason. Also, for those people haven't seen, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you wait to the later episodes of Moon Knight, you'll understand what I mean. So if you don't, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you guys watch the later episodes of Moon Knight on Disney Plus, you'll understand what I mean.
That in some way nowhere is actually Bikini Bottom version of hell, which actually makes a lot of sense. I'm sure if the writers really hated Squidward,
wait, what about hell?
Squidward was alive. I'm sure whoever sent Squidward to nowhere gave him a second chance to return to Bikini Bottom. I also think that in some way nowhere is actually Bikini Bottom version of hell, which actually makes a lot of sense. I'm sure if the writers really hated Squidward as a character, they would have used this storyline to kill him off. And that's the SB129 theory. I can't believe the episode had a dark side, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. We finally revealed the truth of the episode SB129. Thankfully, Squidward escaped nowhere by falling through the floor. I can't imagine SpongeBob SquarePants without Squidward, so I'm glad he came back. With that being said, please check out my other theories where I uncovered the meaning behind a character and an episode. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to never miss another theory.
And you know what? He finished his theory and it's the end of the video, folks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And as I said at the beginning, please like and subscribe to join the BC Army. And as I say at the end of every video, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you will be the first one to know when I upload a video. Anyway, guys, this is BC signing off. Yeah.